How you doing, Tanya?
Good.
Got any beds to move today?
Not today. Got some stuff to schedule, but nothing to move today.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Am I actually showing up this time?
Yeah.
Yeah, look at
Yeah.
you. Where are you?
Where am I?
Yeah.
I'm in Kansas City.
Aha. Where in KC are you?
I'm actually in Gladstone.
Okay, yeah.
I'm right off Vivian.
Yeah, you know Bill serves at Raytown, in Raytown. Yeah.
You were talking about that, yeah.
Yeah, that's where we had an apartment until just a few weeks ago, but we let it go because he'd stayed there 3 nights in something like 14 months and we were paying $1,200 a month for an apartment. I said, heck, we could have gone to like Cancun and spent a month or 6 weeks in a top class hotel for that one. But
So is he taking you to Cancun then?
no. But we are going to Europe next year. I'm really excited. I don't know if you all know what a passion play is. It tells the story of Jesus, and they have a big one down in Arkansas at Eureka Springs. And there is one in Oberammergau. It's in Bavaria, Germany, or so Bavaria. And it has been going since I think the 1600s. And the people there in Oberammergau made a deal with God and made a deal with him and said the plague was raging. And they said if God would spare their town of the plague, that they would tell that story every year. So they started these passion plays. The town was spared, and it got over the years. It got to where they only do them once a year. And if you live in Oberammergau, you are expected to be in this play. And the first time I heard about it was I got these travel log books. When I was in Atlanta, this lady had thrown them away. They were in her garage, and her son said, anything you want, you can have. So here are these books that were written in the early 1900s, like 1906, 1907. And they're these travel logs. This man traveled all over the world. And so they've got these old pictures and whatnot. And there are 2 to 3 different places in each of the volumes. And one of them has Oberammergau and the Passion Play. And he had been there in 1880 and 1890. And he shows how, they would play a part in when they're a child, and how then when they're older, maybe their dad had played Jesus. And so now they were going to get to play Jesus. And it's just fascinated me. And then when I inherited my mother's things, or some of my mother's things, she lived in Germany for 4 years just after the Second World War, and she went to Oberammergau, and I have the 1950 playbook for playbill for that. So I told my husband, I started telling him in my early 50s, I am going to Oberammergau and the Passion Play for my 60th birthday. And that was last year, but because of COVID, they had to cancel it. And they rescheduled for 22, and our tickets all transferred, and the tour. So we are going to, and we've decided we're flying into England, into London a week early, because 90% of my family, I just lost us. 90% of my family comes from England, and we had a castle there when Henry VIII let go of all of the monasteries and everything. He gave one of them, he gave all of them to people. And so it went to this one man, and that passed to his son, and then it came to my 10th great grandfather. So we're going to go over there to Osberton and to other places where family came from. And then we're going to take this tour that goes through Switzerland and Germany and down to Italy. We're going to take a side trip to Rome. And my kids, for like 8 years, every birthday, Mother's Day, Christmas, give money. So we paid for it mostly through our kids. And yes, so not Cancun, but Europe for almost 3 weeks. And Leslie called me the other day because we get back June 26th and a new session starts on June 27th. And she said, could you shorten your holiday? And I said, no something way. And She laughed most evilly. And, but yeah, so we're going to start courses on the 27th, but
I think it's interesting that you talked about that passion play, because there's a Methodist church in Moberly that does a passion play every year.
really,
It's a huge production. There's like 9 different churches that are involved in casting this play, and I've got to be in it a couple years, and it's
That's
really,
cool.
really neat and really well put together. So
I had no idea. Is it
I
in
got
the
to
spring?
my first 2 years, they always put the new guy as Judas. So I got to be Judas the first 2 years that I was in. And I'm like, that's not a role I want.
Our youth are leaving tomorrow for Eureka Springs, and they will see the Passion play when they're down there as part of their activities. They're going
Nice.
on. Yeah. They're building houses, but they're also going to see that as part of their fun stuff. So two of my children and then my son-in-law will all get to do that this week. So yeah.
Very
Where-
cool. Say again, Darren?
I said, where at?
It's in Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Oh, I
So
know
really
that
close.
everybody that I've seen said that saw Jesus down in Branson at the Light and Sound said it was absolutely fabulous.
Oh, wow.
They had it on TV the last couple of years, and it was really neat. And I've got a couple folks in my congregation that are going to see it this weekend. So
That is such an amazing theater.
it is.
I've seen Moses down there, and then I've seen Jonah when it was broadcast once, and
Oh,
unreal what they do with that place.
amazing. We got to see Noah's Ark, or Noah, last Christmas. Bill's music director, minister, gave it to us for a Christmas present.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay, y'all. Any questions? Any thoughts? Any follow-up stuff from this past week? Hi, Anna.
Uh,
Oh, wait,
No.
I want to say one thing to Anna before I forget. I went up there to respond to this, and I totally forgot why I had gone, what I was doing. Your observation about, really being an introvert in so many ways, where people would, you really are a contemplative, and that's what you're experiencing. And that's why, you would rather keep close in. You're very internal. So yeah, I just saw that all over.
I didn't like the exercise because I felt like I'm the odd man out here. I'm the Catholic. I'm not in ministry. I'm going to end up being the only one that doesn't have all of these people. And I felt very uncomfortable. Like it was not, I didn't like the exercise. Although I did, I was quite wordy, for someone that didn't like the exercise.
You did great. And most of us do not have those people in place, really. And some people, I think, will cover a couple of those functions for us. And the real base of this exercise is that all of us who are spiritual people, so whether we're in ministry or ministry, church leadership, or just walking the walk, or wanting to walk the walk, need those support people there into us. And it's like I said to Troy last night, you have to look for those people, those places. Is the Holy Spirit, is God preparing them? Yes. And your places will intersect, but too often we don't see the intersection, and especially when we need the most. So to be able to be thinking into it and saying, who might I need? Where are those people? But I've never done that with anyone who had even close to all of them. Cody,
That's fine. I've been called a lot worse.
yeah, I was like,
But you also mentioned on one of your comments to Troy about we're all ministers, whether we have the title or not. And I commented this morning, my nieces, or my wife's niece is in town this weekend, so I didn't respond last night, but I responded this morning. That's my daughter. But I found that funny because the last couple of years, our church has started posting the staff on the back of our bulletins, and it has the pastor, youth pastor, secretary, and then the last one says ministers, the whole congregation. And our Jacksonville church, above the exit signs on both doors. And I put this in the comment this morning, but in case nobody sees it, it says you're now entering your own field of ministry. I've
Ooh.
always thought that's really cool, because the church is not where we minister. It says we leave the doors that we minister, and it's not just the ministers that are called the ministers. So I just
He's
So-
excited.
She's
Yeah.
fine. It's so fine. We're getting our baby fixes. All right,
Oh.
at least my little baby fixes. Yes, thank you. That's awesome.
And I,
Yeah, go ahead.
and once again, I apologize. My internet was just absolute crap. And I tried to post, and then it went down. I went in on Wednesday, tried to finish posting and look at you, and it shut down as soon as I got done one thing done. It was horrible.
You posted much more than I expected. I didn't expect to see you up there at all. So thank you for
So
persevering.
yeah, it's been fun.
Cool. Yeah, this is one of the soapboxes that Bill and I, like one of our highest soapboxes with the biggest microphone, is that there is a huge difference between Christians and disciples. And we all, and little d disciples, and we all think that baptism's the ultimate. And so we're baptized, and pretty much we leave us there. But Jesus didn't call us to be Christians. He didn't call Christians, he called disciples. And so that's really where we're supposed to be. But disciples in Greek, it's teachers, and he taught. And then what did he do? He sent them out to teach others. What's his great commission? Go out into all the world, right? And make disciples, teach them what I've taught you. And that includes continuing to move that out. If they hadn't have done that, then we wouldn't today be Christians and hopefully moving in towards discipleship. So, and I know Tanya and Anna, I'm pretty sure you too. Yeah, I know Anna have been with me in education and leadership. And at first it was called Christian Education and Leadership. And I asked for the title switch a few years ago, because if you want to know about teaching Sunday school, there are all kinds of books out there. You can, do you want curriculum? Sure, just pick up anything about curriculum, talk to somebody, whatever. But that's not really what that's about. That's about the head knowledge. So how are we going to get to changing lives, changing hearts? And it's discipleship, but you can't be a disciple without discipling someone else. So it's one of my ministers long before I had any of this language or knowledge, but Yule Hardman taught me, we all need a Paul and we all need a Timothy. So we have to have the one who is in Pastor Yule's words, one who's mentoring us, and then the one we're mentoring.
I think a Barnabas is important. I do have a Barnabas.
Yeah.
Yes, an encourager, right?
Not a flatterer, but an encourager. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and Anna, remember
Yeah.
one thing. You may be Catholic with the big C, but we're all Catholic with the little c.
That is true, but I don't know. I'll have to ask Dr. Chris. Have you ever had a Catholic in your courses here at Phillips?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so I'm thinking I kind of am the odd man out, which is not necessarily bad. Some people have appreciated having,
Oh, definitely.
yeah, like in the theology course, the professor there really appreciated it. And when a few people kind of said some things, they wouldn't say bad things, but she pointed out that without the Catholic Church, there aren't the Protestant churches, that the root was originally Catholic. So you have to appreciate that. You can't only see Protestantism by itself separate.
Yeah.
And so that class, it was pretty good. Although I'd say 99% of all the classes, people have been okay with me being in the class.
Oh my goodness, of course, you're an incredible student. You really are.
But I have to say that I hated you just a little bit because
You hated me?
for that Celtic worship shit.
That what?
The Celtic worship group. I couldn't stop watching them. I kept watching.
You hated me in a good way?
Yeah, it's because I was bawling like an idiot.
Dr. Chris likes that group too.
They're so beautiful. It's like, oh my God. It's
Have you
just-
listened to that guy's witness? He actually was in like music school before. Then he was on the streets as an alcoholic, and that's why he wrote a song called "When I Found Jesus." His testimony's pretty strong. If you're able to find his name is Stephen McLeod.
Yeah, I've watched like 5 or 6 things, and I watched their Christmas one they did. I was like, oh my God, I just binge watched the heck out of them.
I thought it was really a blessing during the pandemic.
Yes, they're awesome.
Well, Anna, I grew up in the Catholic Church, and all of my dad's family is Catholic. And my place, when we think about our special place, is actually an abbey that we have not far from here that I go to just to spend time. So you may be the only practicing Catholic, but I can appreciate and understand. So
Thank you for that. Are you in Missouri?
Uh-huh.
I'm wondering, my niece and sister-in-law lived in Missouri for a long time, and there was an abbey that they felt that way about.
is it
I can't
Conception?
What city is it in?
It's Conception Junction. It's Conception. It's the abbey there.
What is it near?
It's-
Like, what's the larger cities near there?
It's north and east of St. Joseph by
I think that may have
Maryville.
been the one they were talking about too.
Yeah, my dad's family like helped start that community long ago. So it's definitely a place where I feel very connected, and we're headed there in August as a staff for a staff retreat. So looking
You
forward
could
to
have put
that.
that in your post about your Jerusalem. I don't think,
Yeah.
did you put a Jerusalem, Tanya? You know, in your
I
post.
believe I did. Yeah. I didn't go into detail on all my people and my things just because I didn't
What
type
is
it
your
all out. I have them,
Jerusalem?
they're all written on my paper, like,
Yeah.
where I do it all, but I didn't put them all in there. But yeah, that's
So what is your
definitely,
Jerusalem? Is that your Jerusalem, your home place?
yeah.
Just curious, not trying to single you out.
Yeah, no, it is. It's my home place. It's my spot. And I'm thankful that our senior pastor that retired this last year, it was his as well, where he would go for a spiritual retreat. And he was an oblate with them. And so he always would take us up. And as I say, it's been a place that I've always felt connected to, even as a child. And then for him to take us back was nice. And so we're taking our new senior pastor that starts in August up to introduce him to it as well. So yeah, I
Very
think it's
cool.
probably,
Sorry.
Chris,
no, you're good. Go, Chris, it's your class.
No, who is your new senior pastor? I just
His name is Ben Hetzfield. He's coming from Manhattan, Kansas.
Oh.
He's at like the First Christian Church of Manhattan, I believe is what it's called, but he's coming from there.
cool.
So
Very cool.
Yeah.
And Anna, I will tell you that all of my spiritual directors have been Catholic, and I go to Catholic retreat centers. So yeah, and I think I told you that Windred Solitude is where I spent a month of my sabbatical, when I had a sabbatical now too many years ago, like 9 years ago. And their charism is solitude in nature. They follow the writings of Saint Vincent Pallotti. So they have 5, but really 4 cottages, and it's 5 nuns that come from 2 different orders, and their orders didn't exactly send them out, but in a way they did. They're still connected to their orders, but they went there and were given over 100 acres of farmland. So these 5 nuns, who range in age from now probably mid 50s, maybe up until into their 80s, take care of the land and provide retreats. And so in the cottages, they all have a sun porch, but you can't see anybody from any of the cottages. They're all situated that you just see, the forest and whatnot. So yeah, I spent a month in solitude and silence, and but the only time I talked was to Abby, my Old English sheepdog, who had come with me, and one of the sisters, bless her, Sister Michelle, came down and put a Post-it note on my door and said, I'm so sorry to interrupt, to interfere, but we just wanted you to know that you're welcome at Eucharist on Sunday morning. And so a priest would come in and offer Eucharist. And at the end of that time, they invited me to come and have dinner with them on Sunday. I left on Monday. And they invited me to become one of the sisters. And I told them that there were two problems. One is that I'm not Catholic, and the other is I'm married. And they said, well, I could be their Protestant theologian in residence. I said, that is awesome. I would do that, but I am there, this little detail that I'm married. And the oldest sister looks and she says, well, your husband could have a sex change operation. I just said, I do not think he's going to go for that.
Let me run that by Bill real quick.
Yeah, I told him, and he's like, oh my gosh, you said they were crazy. I said, they really are.
That's like really out of left field, not what you were expecting, right?
But they are, they're so real and so beautiful. They are. So, and I've told Bill over and over again, if he precedes me in death, I will not remarry, because I love solitude and would love to go live. I would love to have a retreat center. I can't even begin to tell you how much I'd love it.
When you were affiliated with the Order of Julian and Norwich, the Episcopal Anglican one, did you go to their, you never did make it to there?
No, I couldn't afford to. Never could afford to. Yeah, they have annual gatherings that are there. Yeah.
You're better than me. There's no way I could be in solitude for a month.
So
I've done it for 2 days, and I thought it was
that's good.
I went bananas. I was like, no, I have to be with humans. I have to be around humans. I have to talk to people. It just drives me nuts.
I will say I was really concerned. I had thought about doing an Ignatian retreat, a 28-day Ignatian retreat. But what I knew, because I used to do 3 retreats a year, and they would include 3 to 5 days of silence, but always with other people. And what I learned was I don't want someone else talking. So in an Ignatian retreat, what they'll do is you go at least once a day, and I think it's 3 times a day, and the leader will do a meditation or something, and then you spend the intervening hours kind of meditating or working with that thought. And I didn't want that, but a couple of those retreats actually wanted you to have a psychological evaluation. And I'd seen another place that offered 30 days silence, not necessarily solitude. And there was one in Ireland I seriously thought about going to. But so anyways, I just was afraid that if I went interiorly, that I might not willingly come out of it. And when coming home was a big adjustment, leaving, and I stopped on the way to get, I don't know, something to drink at McDonald's. And that's when I was there, I gave up sugar. Well, yeah, sugar, flours, processed flours, and aspartame. And so like just trying to think through, but there were all these cars and all this noise. And I got home, and those of you know my husband, he is beyond extroverted. And so that was huge. And then the cars going up and down the street, and, fire trucks and all. And I just wanted to go back down there so badly. But yeah, it is, there's a difference between silence and solitude. I did a retreat. I did retreats for a while with Nancy Tanner Thies once a year, and we would do 5 days there at Zapatu. And I came to realize the rhythm of retreats there are like you'll find in so many places, but so there'd be silence, but we would come together for dinner and then Compline. And that was part of it, that I need extended silence, but then it was, I need solitude. I don't, I can see other people. I just don't want them in my space. I don't want to be in their space. because I do have these conversations going with God. And even, I mean, I find during the day, I just have these conversations that go on. And sometimes I just need to block everything out. I'm probably
Dr. Chris, you're my Yoda. I think I got my Yoda.
I did have a question about the 11. Can you go into a little more detail on the Lazarus and Lydia?
Yes.
Did you see the extra stuff I put
Yes,
on
I
your
did.
post? Yeah.
I
I mean,
read-
I did say I think Dr. Chris could flesh it out better, but I added a few things.
Yeah, I did read that. Thank you.
So, we need avenues and pathways to people who are not like us. And so, and so for those of us who don't come from money or have money and may be uncomfortable with money, which is a lot of ministers are uncomfortable around wealth. We need those people, those places that can teach us and help us be comfortable about wealth. And so those are the Lydias, the Dorcas, right? She was this woman who was a businesswoman and an entrepreneur, and very successful at that. And then you have Lazarus. Pardon me?
Dealt in purple cloth.
Yes, which was very expensive, luxurious.
Sorry.
No, that's great. I love that. Dorcas, right? And so then you get Lazarus, and Jesus tells the story of Lazarus, who I can't remember the whole of the story at the minute, but I didn't remember. He was very, very, there's just that very, very poor. And so then those as well that remind us of those who don't have even what we do get to have. I sat in on a seminar the other night. It was a woman talking about her mystics. She teaches a course at Bucky Graduate University, where we have our doctorates from, and she teaches in mysticism and social action. And so she talked about her, I think it was 10 or 12, 10 mystics who inspire her into social consciousness and awareness and movement. And one of those was Saint Teresa of Calcutta. And so, she really understood that that Lazarus kind of entree. And I don't remember if we said this or not, that some of our mentors are not people who are alive, right? So we have mentors. We all need to have a direct mentor, somebody who has gone before us, who knows a little bit much, who will teach us, right? They may not necessarily be our discipler. I'll come back to this thoughts, but while I'm on mentors, in coaching, when you're trained in coaching, what they'll tell you is, hopefully they'll tell you, is that coaching draws out of people and mentoring pours in. So a coach, part of coach training is learning how to ask questions. What are the questions? Listening. Okay, how do I do that? It's less telling you. So a good coach will do that. But I'm a mentor coach, or a coach mentor is my perspective, my way of doing that, my model, because we need mentors. So it's, pulling out and then pouring in.
Somebody can tell you how to do something, but I'm one that needs to be shown how to do things.
Yeah, me too.
Right. Well, and for me, that's in part what I find in these classes, right? Because each of us brings perspective and experience. So I get to pour in, the more that I know, but you're pouring back, right? And then that's giving you the opportunity to integrate, right? To play, to realize, oh, wow, I do know this. And so then it's helping others, but it's helping us as well with our thinking and our thought patterns. So when it comes to mentoring, again, we all need the mentors in our lives. Then but some of our mentors come from the past, and we read them, or we're reading their blogs. They're contemporaries. We may never meet them, but they're still there. So for me, Bill Easum was one of those book mentors at first, reading his books. And the first one I read was actually on denominationalism, long before I knew I'd ever end up in regional type ministry, regional or general ministry. So I, was hearing that, and I almost just threw him out because I hated the book. It was Dancing with Dinosaurs. Hated it, hated what he was saying. He predicts basically the demise of denominations and whatnot. I'm going, you are setting this up. How can you do that? But then we were chosen to be part of this church planting project experiment that he was trying out. And that was back in 1997. We interviewed, and in December 97, we were chosen to be part of that, one of the 4 core experimental new church or church plants. But that first time I met him, when we were actually on site for assessing, he's not that much taller than I am, and he's a slight man, wears cowboy boots. He's a Texan through and through, and so cowboy boots and jeans always. And he speaks in a very this Southern drawl, and kind of in a gentle way. But we'd always say he'd walk in a room and throw time bombs and walk out. And so it's like, this is it. This is the way it is. Boom, and out. And so when I met him, I just said, when I read your book, I hated it. And a pastor invited me to facilitate a workshop with her elders on your book. And I told her, I'm not the person to do it. Bill needs to do it, because he loved the book, but I hate the book. And she said, well, that's why you need to come, and because they're going to hate it too. And so I read again. It was like, but you could just see the truth in it. But when I met him, I could see his humility and his love for the church and his love for people in the kingdom. And I told him, how can I argue with that? So then with the church plant, he became and now he's a friend, he's a colleague. I'm the only person he's ever let stay in his home, and he let me spend 10 days there a couple of weeks ago, and I call him, and we talk. I gave him a hug. The first time I gave him a hug, he said, you may not tell anybody, because I do not let people hug me. So we have that kind of friendship, but he's still a mentor for me. He's wise, he's 82 and wise, and pours into me in ways he doesn't even know. And we need those people. Yeah, the mod chart, I really want to keep that in front of you. I want to add a piece to that. To this day, I keep Post-it notepads with me everywhere. And this is in my calendaring box where I keep colored pens, but I use 3 colors, red, yellow, and green, kind of like stoplights are. And what worked for me when I was in area ministry is where I put this together. I wrote my to-dos on here, and then would put them on my calendar. And at that time, I used the Disciples of Christ monthly planning calendar in big version, spiral bound. And if it was something that I had to do, absolutely had to do, it went into red. And then if it was something that could wait, it was yellow. If it's something that could really wait, it was green. But then I switched it around. Red is what I have to do, because I have to do it. And I began to judge things by, does it give life or not? So if it didn't give life, but I had to do it, it was red. Then yellow was, it might give life, and it might not. So I'm willing to, I'm going to try yellow. And then green was, this will give life. And my goal was and when I started it, almost everything was red. And my goal was to shift it over to green. And the final shift to green, almost all green, came when I decided the only time I would work on a Saturday was if it gave life completely. And so we did workshops out and about, every every month for 10 months of the year. We did five clergy coachings a month and did teachings there. Things like the mod chart, the way it looks now, and some of the other things you'll see, my copyright 2008, 2009, those came out of those clergy coaching, cluster coachings. But anyways, you know, churches want you to come and visit, and often they want you to come on a Saturday because that's when everybody can be there, blah, blah, blah. And it was, if I knew this church really was, had life potential and was working on that and was serious, I would go to that. If the church might or might not, you know, they could go either way. They were a yellow. And if I had space in my calendar, I would go and do a yellow. But like community, they were a red. Community Christian, Darren's church, they were a red. There's no way I was coming down there on a Saturday. And Cody, Jacksonville, Cairo, they were yellow at first and they became a green. And so I was great to come there on Saturdays. Yeah. So who got priority? The green. So I am hating it right now because I've gotten away from that. Of course, I don't, you know, it doesn't make sense to use that. And I'm still trying to figure out after 5 years, what is going to work for me. But there's still, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe red is what I know I have to do, but I don't really want to do it. So pull it off. Maybe I should put green on that because it says, it changes my attitude, right? You don't want to do it, but you're doing it for some reason. So, you know, do it first. But think about that. And I use color pens. Oh, that's the other thing. That's the other thing. Okay. So let's see if I can find. Okay.
Hey, Chris,
Yes.
I gotta go. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I just said, bye, guys. I'll watch the rest of it when I get back.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yep. Take care, guys.
Bye. Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so this is my calendar and you can see different colors in there. So here's the deal with colors. Green, because green is healthy, right? Growth. This is anything to do with me and my family. And then I have pink is my business, Loca. Light blue is Phillips. Dark blue is Effective Church in my work, my consulting and coaching work with Effective Church. And red is you have to do this. You know, so that's the red. And I use that on here because I'm gonna purple at one point that I use like for substitute teaching. But the reason I went to color pens is that I can look where my life is unbalanced. So if I have more of any color than I have green, there's a problem going on there. Right? If there's no green on my calendar, So I would highly recommend that to you, figuring out, you know, where's family, where's you? I need to get away, you. And so Tanya, then if there were some way that you could get to the Abbey a day earlier or to stay a day later, might be, you know, if that's possible, it is a good idea to do. Just because you're there, while it brings all these other beautiful parts to it, it's still work and you still have to focus on that.
Yeah, the one nice thing, the first half of the day when we get there, we're on our own. We kind of just do, everybody goes off, does their own thing, explores, and, you know, like, because they have a lot of places you can walk and be in nature and spend time. And for me, the cemetery across, have you been to the Abbey?
No.
Okay. Across the street is a cemetery. It's an old cemetery, but it's an active cemetery too. And for me, it's peaceful just to take a book and read or just sit there and pray and reflect, but I don't see too many people. And even when I've been over there and they're mowing, they'll stop mowing while I'm hanging out there and just wait for me to be done. So that's usually where I head first. It's also where a lot of my family's buried. So it's just, yeah, I just find peace in the cemetery there. And then there's a few other places that I know to head off to. So that'll be my morning time. And then we'll get back together in the afternoon and kind of work through some stuff. It's not really a working as in like planning type stuff.
Okay.
It's just more of a get away, spend time together, get to know each other more, that type of retreat. So
Beautiful.
yeah, but there will be some definitely downtime, which is us by ourselves. So it's nice.
Good.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful.
We haven't been over there because of them being shut down because of COVID. So I'm definitely ready to get back.